It is merch. December the 14th, 2016. Are you sure, Dana? Are you really sure? You know for sure, Dana? Can you tell us the date just in one go for a change? Good morning, everybody. I'm Dana, your host, nuclear proctologist.org. We have an incredible amount of valuable documentation screaming for your attention. Trust me. Morning, everybody. Hugs for everybody. Hi, Elaine. And I'm Thirst Sensor. Good morning. I know it's not a good morning for everybody. Neil and everybody that manages to be out here in La La Land, grabbing this drink, catching it later. Because they 10 years from now. How are you, boys and girls? I'm 10 years older, by the way, at this stage of this 10 years later. Nothing to celebrate, but there's a big story to tell. And that's what we're good at. That's what we like doing. That's why we're rocking the way we rock. Because we are rockers. We're rocking it. Okay, maybe not. Kind of works though when you're talking with music. Music is just the beginning of a day. It's like any other day where they're building the walls with homeless and the destitute and the victims of society. Society is about to come to a maturity. Okay, maybe not. But hey, well, it kind of sounded good when I first said it. Let's get into it. Let's burn. Let's burn, baby. Let's burn. We're going to do a litany of headlines about whales. All the killer whales in Puget Sound are going to die really soon. They can't last any longer. They've lost their body fats and trying to make me a little bit more. What's up, Tina? I got no idea, man. I might have to do this the hard way yet. Let's do that. Frigid. The hell with it. We're doing it anyway. Whatever. Let's keep going. Here we go. Fukushima radioactive releases to continue powering, and just powering into the ocean. Okay. Researchers predicted in 2014, just after the third anniversary, killer whales would be 1,000 becquerels. Let me gut that down. And any limits anybody's concerned about in this context that you're seeing means nothing, because as you'll see that a single atom will get you over time. There's nobody escapes it. If you're got it, you got it, and that's the end of it. As you know, life. This planet can't last 200 years. It just can't. It can't be done. And you'll see why. 100% death rates for baby killer whales. Ominous headlines, 2014. The Pacific food web is crashing all up and down the west coast of North America. And fishermen believe it's pollution because they don't know any better, because the lawyers in the industry are hard at work. Surge in whale deaths. Last year was 48. Think about that, 48. 48 whales. And Professor, I'm not sure this is just a natural event. There may be a disease. Yeah. Quite the disease wiped out everything. Scientists are mystified by unusual strandings of large sea creatures. In a 3-week period, 5 dead whales. These were starved to death. All these whales you're going to see, these all starved to death. And what's the odds of two whales in the same spot, let alone many? We've seen over 300 in Chile, over 200 New Zealand. Staggering stuff. Increasing worry on the west coast over Fukushima radiation, really concerned about wildlife and importantly our health. And there's a big black hole where that data should be. And we scooped that when we went out and done the Fukushima expeditions and put it up at the nuclear proctologist, yeah? We showed an extinction event. But we got headline after a headline after a headline after a headline. It's not just me. It's not just you. We got 13,000 plus headlines. Extremely rare whale. Yeah, you have no idea how rare. It's going to be rarer than any old dinosaur real soon. Plutonium at 1,000,000 becquerels a square meter was also detected on land in North America after Fukushima, not just that ocean. It was a drastic plunge that never stopped. It continues to the extinction event. So this was 20,000 breeding pairs, had 10 eggs. 10. Not 11, but 10. People are scratching their heads. What? Not 11. Plutonium-241, 70,000 times more allegedly than the atomic bomb. But the atomic bombs say there was 2,000 between Russia and China and Britain and America and who knows who else. India and Pakistan done 18 in just several months, right? Or a 9-month period, whatever it was. And France snuck one off while everybody was screaming at India and Pakistan. And so the point being is that a chain reaction, a melted chain reaction, and we've done the numbers on, say, 3 of the reactors melting down, and you'll be looking at about 1,000 atomic bombs worth of radiation a day. And the reason for that is because it's cannibalizing at 9,000 degree Fahrenheit temperatures, rocks and rebar and steel all day, every day. And that's released. It looks like steam when it's wafers up, but it's not. It's the farthest thing. It's just releases like smoke from a smoke fire is the log disappearing. But in our case, if we breathe this stuff in, it's game over. So California fishermen were skunked in 2014 and ever since. Sardines, squid, mackerels are missing. Herring, anchovies, krill. And so also birds and fish and everything else. Scientists mystified over radioactive waste found in the Pacific Northwest. He said, I got no idea how it got there. See, he's never heard of the jet stream. And that's the problem with scientists and academics and media. For some reason, the jet stream is not real unless it's Al-Qaeda or ISIL or Boko Haram, Islamic terrorists or whatever. There's always 10,000 of them. Hamas, 10,000 here, 10,000. So if you got 10,000, that's enough now to go wreck 2 countries. When I say those words, I mean those words, wreck. Physically wreck those countries. And your own country by proxy. Serious threat to our ocean, environment, and society from Fukushima. It's unprecedented events, global consequences. The fallout is far from over. It'll be going for thousands of years. 10,000 baby sea lions dead on one island. The odds of finding 2 dead on one island is extraordinary, okay? I know because I spent 260 days, 15,000 miles doing the coastline. You couldn't find them, let alone on an island. Yeah, we found them. I think altogether, seals, I've probably seen about 300 in 15,000 miles, 260 days. Normally 300 is what you find in a square mile of healthy coastlines. Numbers are skyrocketing. Woman is burying the rotting mammals after digging graves at the beaches. Horrified, traumatized, demoralized. And it's getting even worse on the West Coast. Experts predict 35,000 baby sea lions. They were emaciated. The anchovies, herring, squid, the krill, which is their base food, the sardines, anchovies, all gone. So normally when they come ashore, just to give you context, I'm at 529 on that page. So 529, I got to come back to that spot. Let me get rid of me. Yoink. So the pictures on the right are the ones I took on my expeditions, 15,000 miles, 260 days. That documentation is up at the nuclear proctologist.org. All those arrows. And these are the before and after pictures you're looking at. That's before and after pictures. Think about it. Same spot, Louise Narrows. It's the same spot. Is that not terrible? So instead of the seals coming ashore and being able to eat everything on the left, there was nothing there, only a couple of algae out of 600 algae. So instead of all the food on your left, there was nothing there for the seals or the sea lions because everything else was gone. So normally they would come ashore and be able to just right away eat something. But instead there's nothing there for them to eat. Eat. That's a new word. I made it up. That's mine. Leave it alone. Don't ever say I'm going to get a patent. And no matter how many people you put on those beaches, you're not going to find it. And I know because I went to all these beaches. There's nothing there. It's completely naked. You will starve to death if you go there yourself. You will starve to death. And you can find, once again, all that information. And so, let's come back over. Oh, God, I forgot what my number is. I know it's 5 something. It'll be highlighted when I see it. There'd be. Back to the original one. 35,000? Yeah, that's an event, eh? That's an event, a catastrophic event. They were found with naked rocks in their stomach because normally they would come and eat the rocks with all the food on it. There was no food on the rocks, so by instinct they ate the rocks when they came ashore. Horrifying, terrifying. And we don't seem to have any kind of academics that we can count on that are not also out there lying at the same time. 13 baby gray whales, 55 dolphins on the west coast here. Corpses of sea lions and turtles and birds decomposing. Mysterious deaths probed by a hush government and fears for whales encountering hotspots. And volunteers were trained about radiation. Think about it. But it's not there. Don't worry about it. Shut your pie hole. Who are they to tell us anything besides what we sent them out to do and give us the facts? We'll make up our own mind. We don't need them to sugarcoat it. That's not their job. They should be fired and imprisoned for not reporting that they found it. Over 15,000 baby sea lions may have died. Marine biologist warns it could deplete an entire generation. It did. And now, Puget Sound, all the whales are starving to death. The killer whales, they're emaciated. How did the killer whales get emaciated? They can eat halibut and turtles and sharks and other whales. And they can eat octopus. They can eat rock cod. They can eat anything in the ocean. How did they become emaciated? How did one or two? Maybe because they're sick. But all of them, when they're not sick, not injured, there was no diseases, there wasn't toxins and dioxins. It's Fukushima. Sardines and crayfish gone. 2015 just vanished. No, they didn't. They were mass exterminated by your inability to tell the truth. No one bothered trying to stop the reactors. Only Japan's homeless and destitute. No one knows what to do with Fukushima. It's impossible to fix it. And you just can't deal with something that you can't get closer than 300 feet to without dying. Even the robots die. According to Arnie Gunnarsson, they're in there supporting a fuel pool that don't even exist. Heads of radiation testing program on the West Coast says Fukushima plume could threaten the ecosystem. I just showed you the documentation that they killed it. It's time to make a stand for this planet, for people out there. Mysterious black deadly fungus being found on fish, that whales eat fish. They call it a disease, but they can't identify it. They call it a pathogen, but they can't identify it. They call it a virus, they can't identify it or get a picture of it. They found Ebola, I got a picture, put it out there, people said, hey, that's Ebola. But for anything to do with the marine species, they can't find a single picture of anything that they're concerned about because they can't say the word radiation. They're PR firms. They're not there to be your friend or help you. Hazardous on a continental scale. Cancer is a certainty if one radioactive particle, a single one, and you put 2 million on the head of a needle. Fukushima nuclear fuel fragments found 10,000 kilometers from the reactor. And the jet streams come right across to North America. Of course, the Northern Hemisphere. 2014, Fukushima not under control. Humiliated that Japan lied to the world about how much is entering the Pacific. It's polluting the ocean. Polluting the ocean more and more, and it didn't stop. It didn't slow down. It wasn't mitigated. It was all just a big cover-up because they're not even trying to stop it. They don't let in the experts. They don't solicit technology. They're not even giving it a try. Carts fill last sentences with emaciated dead bodies. Pacific Ocean turned into a desert. Not turning into, it's a desert. Hordes of jellyfish 10 blocks long. Disturbing when all you pull up. They seem to be replacing fish in the food chain. Herring disappeared. Mysterious spike in salmon deaths. It's like a scene from a horror movie all along the West Coast. No food out there. Scientists can't figure out why there's mass starvation of seabirds. Like I showed you the pictures when they can't even come ashore and find food. This is really serious. The species die off. This species. It's a die-off of all species. How many other people have come out and warned you, begged you, and pleaded with this planet, pleaded with the academics, pleaded with the media to tell the story so that people would know and we would come up with solutions. We would come up with technologies. We would fortify ways forward. We would look for ways to mitigate it in our communities, in our supermarkets. And then this system thinks that this repressive fucking nightmare is going to go away and their life is going to continue without anybody knowing what they've done or desperately dreaming. The plant is only hanging by its fingernails. That headline is applicable for the next 2,000 years. Newly discovered mass mortality in sea creatures. It's all gone. I went out there. No one reported on me, but anybody else who went and looked at a spot and said, hey, this is bad, all kinds of reports. Someone goes and looks at the whole coast, whatever. And I don't get 2 seconds. I get demonized, KRQE channel 13. Body parts falling off, animals wasting. Now, I hung out with the dive fleet And they were reporting that on the ocean floor. Freaked them out. Maps of LA and San Francisco covered in red clouds removed from latest paper. Total release clearly larger than previously claimed. And we got so many disposition models. Officials alarmed as several types of marine animals begin washing up. Whole populations getting hit hard. Animals of all ages, not just young, not just old, but all ages, not just newborns. Really hard to wrap your head around it. Why? Because you won't put Fukushima, many melted reactors, 5 reactors in the roof of the buildings, and the roofs are gone. We had an event, and we better start dealing with it. It's completely unsafe, impossible to remove the hundreds of radioactive material, 1,200 radionuclides. This is water filtration. Only 62 can be reduced. That's not even true. They should head down to Fukushima or to Chernobyl. Right? Why don't they head to Hanford and clean that up too, if they cleaned up Fukushima? Because they didn't. They can't. Animals basically dying. No, those carcasses are washing up. That's where they finally die, yeah. Like walking skeletons. Do you think this is just a one-off headline? You think this is just like, Dana, you're kind of blowing it out of proportion? When I went out and done the whole coastline, I done the whole coastline. It's documented already up at the nuclearproctologist.org. It's for free. You can take it and download it and make a documentary out of it and monitorize it. It's free. It's free for this whole planet for anybody that wants it. Even if they want to take it and use it against me, go right ahead, because you can't. GPSs of everything is there. It's like taking you along. 1,000, 2,000 pictures a day is the same as being on the boat with me. Up to 5 months without coming home. I'm so burnt out. Shellfish disappearing along the west coast, nobody knows why. And finding Pacific shellfish next to impossible. Unless you dig deep, you'll find them. Recently, no scallops. Local scallops supply was gone. They all died off. All the babies died off. And reports a big lie. Everybody in Japan knows Fukushima is far worse than the authorities, which are your employees. Your government is not authority. They're the employee. You treat them as some kind of authority. Imagine having to ask your employee for permission. That's what you do when you talk to your government. You need to get in their faces. You need hundreds of people. If they blow back and have somebody arrested, you need hundreds to go after them immediately. The only way you can deal with them. It's the right thing to do. It's the moral thing to do. U.S. universities testing animals in Pacific, missing testicles and eyeballs. The skin is disintegrating, peeling off. Bodies riddled with tumors and eyes bleeding, covered in lesions. Emergency closure of fishery along the entire west coast. Almost no babies survived since 2011. Catastrophic crash. Population decimated. Crisis. Collapse. Latest and alarming die-offs. Mass reproductive failures. A lot of weird things. Won't happen much longer because everything is almost gone. Such a bizarre thing off the California coast. Multiple aborted fetuses every day. Hundreds of thousands of seabirds that nest are now missing. An unprecedented die-off like we've never seen. Baby seals dying after mothers led them to a cliff edge. Brutal to watch. I can imagine. Brutal to think about. But hey, we just play patriotic nationalism and everything feels better and looks better and smells better. And life is good, and don't worry about it. It's just an extinction event, and it's a myth that the disaster is being contained. Contaminated much of North Coast, Pacific Coast of North America. All of it. Nothing got spared. Some spots weren't as heavy, But it doesn't matter. They were heavy. If you didn't have the heavy disposition, they would all still be considered heavy dispositions. Because they had 1 million per square meter. They had 220 million becquerels. They had 220 million becquerels per liter of rainwater of iodine 129. If they checked that same liter, they would have found, say, 60 million becquerels of iodine 131, or 20 million becquerels of iodine 131. There's 30 times more 132, 133 would have been found in. There would have been uranium, plutonium, and thousands of radioactive materials, but they didn't. And they didn't report on it until several years later. But 220 million becquerels confirmed. 220 million. 220 million. Hang on. Yeah, let's try that one. We'll finish it out 4 minutes ago. Fukushima has an ongoing meltdown. It's the worst possible outcome. We've never seen disasters like this in human history. Must act now to seal the Fukushima reactor. Award-winning project finds seafood in Canada higher radiation levels. Hundreds of millions of animals died along the west coast. Nuclear waste is spilling into the Pacific Ocean. Experts agree species of wildlife and fisheries are endangered due to large releases of radioactivity into the ocean. The whole world needs to pay attention. The Pacific Ocean is under incredible threats. Cataclysmic die-off of birds on the entire coast are the canary in the coal mine. It's kind of scary. It's a grim reality. Alarm is the baby whales keep dying since 2011. And the fish have disappeared. The whales are absent. No krills. High rates of egg failures among birds. And there's almost nothing there. Just clear water. It's a global threat to the human health and the food web. It's a massive die-off. 95 to 100% deformed shells. Smaller in size like all the other species. Sailor talks thousands of miles empty. Officials admit failures after failures, and regulators admitted what a fantastical, incredible lie the government told about Fukushima. On the west coast, many animals on the floor, sea floors are dying and look sick. Everything's dying, dead. What's killing the urchins? I looked at the coastline with underwater cameras. They're one of the few species I was able to find, but they're still literally down to nothing, and they're not fit for consumption. Anything left in the Pacific is highly irradiated. They bioaccumulated 10 to 15,000 times. You just need one out of that 15,000 to go down your neck and sequester in your muscles, your organs, your bones. Game over. It just takes time. Take your kids to the beach and see them before they're gone. Fukushima's emerged as a global threat. And the lettuce from the U.S. was contaminated. The largest epidemic ever seen. Shorelines losing biodiversity, blanketed and barnacles, and they're missing because we documented, 15,000 miles of the coastline, 200,000 pictures. A real major event. Aerosols were 100,000 times in Washington. I got a call from Washington just before I went live, but I can't afford to spend the money. I'm trying to save up and get the camera. I need to spend money to be able to do long distance, and I'm not doing it. We got to get that camera. Massive release of Fukushima radioactive waste being planned. Overwhelmed by the contaminated water from the reactors. Okay, let's finish it out. It was a pretty good stream. We got through it. We banged into it pretty darn good. Dina. Hugs for everybody. Made it through another day. Made it through another nightmare. Get ready for another one tomorrow. Doesn't get any better unless we make it better, unless we work hard, unless we sacrifice for the better. That's what we've all done, yeah? That's what we continue to do. That's what all of us are afraid. All of us are worn out. All of us are battered and bruised, and all of us feel that it's hopeless. But that's not what we're supposed to do. We have to fight for every insect, for every animal, for every bird, the 8 million other species. And by proxy, we help ourselves. We have to help them to help ourselves. We can't live without them. They can't live in harmony with us anymore. We have to become stewards, not just talk about it, not just fantasize about it, not just pretend. We have to become those stewards. We have to become those disseminators of truth, and with it, the misery and the heartaches and the uncertainty and the loneliness and the destitute that goes with it. It's something we got to gut up and face it, and that we can't turn our back. We can't close our eyes. We can't bow down. We can't close our eyes. Yeah, you're welcome, Jen. Look what you've done to everybody by feeding the lies out there. You took hope away from everybody.